Well,
Hello, hello, family. How are y'all?
howdy.
Say hello to Miss Taro, Miss
It's
Jen, my
it's
sister.
it's the tea. I bring the tea to
Yes.
survival.
But since we already got a half a dozen in here, I'm going to go ahead and do the opening and hope y'all enjoy. Uh, Give me a second. Oh, crap. Um, There we go. All right, all right. Oh, so how have you been, sis?
I've been.
Right? That's all we can say, right?
Well, you know as well as I do, we're trying to survive this hell's waiting room that we're all in right now. Those of us in the southerny type
Yeah.
state, where we reach the triple digits daily.
Oh, yeah.
I just went
Right.
to Phoenix this weekend. It was 100 and mother loving 12 degrees. And I don't know how people live there.
Okay. Okay. Finally, it's back. I don't know what was going on with my
Uh oh.
going on with my internet.
It's got
Probably because I'm out here in the middle.
it's got a heat stroke. It had heat stroke. That's what happened
Yeah.
here.
Ain't, ain't that the truth, sis? Now
Well,
I gotta
you're
find
welcome,
my.
my flock.
Oh, hello, everybody in chat. Hello.
I
Sorry.
don't want to live in a
Hey,
tent in that
Jax.
heat. Does my tent have central AC? Because if it
That
does,
I wished it did.
and okay, to the people that say it's okay, it's a dry heat. Let me chop you in the throat for a second, because I don't
Right.
care. Heat is heat. It's hot. It's
Yep.
hot, and I don't like it.
Oh, same here. Oh
Oh, just
my God.
Matt always takes stroke the wrong way. So does Fluff. Fluff likes a good Matt stroke.
Yo, yes. Always. Me and Fluff. Oh my God. Where is my. I bet you anything that mechanic stole my spark plug socket. I'm going to kill a mechanic.
I'll hold him down. Don't worry.
Thank you. Oh, oh shit. trying to
Yeah, but
change out spark plugs in the middle of the night. No, I don't know what to do anymore, sis. I don't. Son of a bitch. Anyways.
that damn mechanic. Ugh.
Yeah,
Matt's had a great time this week.
I have. I've had a wonderful, wonderful time.
But I don't think I never went camping in Arizona when I lived there for fairly obvious reasons. But I've gone camping all through California, and in some areas where it gets really, really hot, and at night the
Yeah.
ground is still hot, it makes you question your sanity just a little bit.
Oh, that it does.
We went camping in Death Valley one time in November, and it was still freaking hot. Don't ask us what we thought we were trying to pull with that one. What we were trying to prove, what we were being in college, you do some stuff that you just need to say some Hail Marys over.
Ain't
And
that
that
the
was one
truth?
of them.
Yeah.
But there's areas of what I loved about when I lived in Arizona was it's not, contrary to popular belief, it's not all desert. They have forests there. They
Oh
have
yeah.
areas that it snows. They have like it's a huge biosystem there. Like it got a little bit of everything except for swamplands. But certain
Yeah.
areas that have water can get kind of swampy. But there's all kinds of stuff there, and like when you're up in Flagstaff, I mean, you can get up to like you can get several feet of snow up there, and it's really pretty.
Oh yeah.
Where Kill Hut lives, Kill Hut lives up in the mountain area, and he was getting snow like I think up in April and everything. So he lived like there's all kinds of really cool areas to see in Arizona, but like where I lived in Phoenix, it's like it was just dirt and heat and unhappiness. There was a general sense of unhappy in that area, but in the
made
winter it's
you
great.
made you ask multiple questions on why.
Oh yeah, I sat there and I was like, what human decided it was okay to be, to habitat this area? Like somebody just stopped and said, well, we'll just set up camp here, and people built stuff. I was like, what's wrong with you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been to the Okefenokee Swamp. I've camped out there where gators, snapping turtles, everything was. Huge, huge swarms of mosquitoes that could literally carry off a chihuahua or a small child. Um, then I went down to the Everglades. I've camped down there. I literally woke up like 10 feet away from a mother crocodile nest that was laying eggs. And yeah, yeah, there's a lot of places that make you question, like, why do you do this?
Oh yeah. No, when I did that Death Valley thing, I was like, what drunk bet did I lose to end up
Oh,
here tonight? But it
you-
was like it was a dare. Somebody was like, "Oh, bet you guys wouldn't do it." Well, when you're 20 years old, you can't dare somebody like me to do stuff because we will do it.
Cool.
And yeah, it was one of those things where you woke up the next day, just you didn't say anything, you just went on your way.
Yeah.
You're like,
And
I
now
might have made
you're,
a bad call on that one.
I used to be invincible in my youth, in my 20s and everything. And now that I'm hitting my 40s, it's like I'm not pitching a tent no more. I'm not laying on the hard ground no more. I went to being comfortable hammock
Yeah.
camping now. Like,
I know you're not.
at,
I know you're not
the-
pitching a tent like pitching a tent, but you are still pitching tents.
yes,
Aren't
yes,
you
that
such a
I could
smart
say.
ass?
You just have your camper or your hammock. You're all set. You're
I
still
think
pitching
you
tents.
I think you just wanted to see how many times you could say pitch in a tent in one sentence.
No.
That's awesome.
I know you're not pitching a tent, but you're pitching a tent and pitching a tent. Let me show you
Right.
my tent, and you can pitch it.
Let me let me give you a full tour of my tent. Oh my
No,
god.
we've been what was it that we saw in Old Town that we were like, oh my god, I want one of those. One of the old camper vans, like the 1980s
Oh,
ones. And I was like, I could totally like retrofit that.
hold on. You will love what I'm going to show you then. What I'm fixing up. Give me a second. Setting
You tell Matt
camera.
anything, he's already got one.
Yep. Yeah. Done. And uno, dos, boom.
Yup. 1980s camper van. I love them.
Yep.
This one was the brown with the stripe on the side. Like, oh, it was
Yeah.
so glorious.
Mine's white with green.
Oh, it was just like I saw that and I was like, dude, I haven't seen one of those in a minute. But they go
Oh, I'll
like,
show you. This is what I was going to surprise Nubby with, but before we found out, um, he has no license
yeah.
for this.
Oh,
A 1985 King of the Road that I got for like $500.
nice.
Fixing it up. Yeah, I'm fixing it up. It's got a full bathroom, full kitchen, everything in it. I was going to fix this up and I was going to take it to him, and then found out that yeah, he can't drive.
As of yet, we're working
Yeah.
on that. We gotta get him. We gotta get him some driving lessons.
Yeah, we need to throw him in a good stick shift Volkswagen Bug.
And let him have fun.
Yes. Speaking of that, Nicole's going to sell me sell me her old 1975 Baja Beetle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I want to soup that up as like a Mad Max bug out, bug out vehicle. I am too tired. I'm too tired to screw with these spark plugs tonight. Everything just hit me at once, like tiredness.
Well, you sleep like 30 increments, like when you do try to sleep.
Oh, I do. I just, damn it. I thought I'd have the energy to fix this. I ain't doing it, and it's too hot.
It's hot and you've already had a long day.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you eaten today?
No, but Miss Star's cooking me something right now.
Look up in the kitchen.
I'm gonna have to get new. I'm gonna have to get new plugs for this. My new whatchamacallits for the spark plugs, the casings or whatever they are. United Saddam. Sorry. I'm pissed. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's understandable. No need to be sorry. We all get pissed. Especially after having to deal with the spark plug issue.
Yeah, I'll do it in the morning. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Anyways. Bandura is up and running and ready to go. The only problem is with it is I have 16.5 rims on it and I need to get new tires for it, and they don't sell 16.5 tires anymore.
Yeah.
Wonderful Met tires.
Yeah, it's amazing how tire manufacturing has changed even in the last 10 to 15 years. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, Crafty, how you doing? Hello, everybody in chat that I missed. I'm so sorry.
Matt's had a hell of a day today. Hell of a week, actually.
Yeah.
Then there's Fluff that's like, just tell me what you need, Matt. I'll find it at work.
Right? I love you, Fluff.
Fluff is like the Pablo.
Right?
Sabes que, Holmes, you just tell me what you need, I'm gonna get it.
I got you.
You need recessed lighting? Don't worry, just tell me what size.
Yes. Oh my god.
Don't worry, we're gonna convert the breaker to your neighbor's house so you don't pay for it.
That reminds me, growing up in the projects and everything, one person in the projects had cable. Yeah.
You would steal cable from your neighbor.
We all stole cable from our neighbor.
You had the one person who would pay for cable, and yet every house in the neighborhood had cable.
Yeah.
Remember the illegal cable boxes that people would sell so that you could get TV for free?
Yeah, the hacked ones. Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, to get cable, because we had the old, we had the old console boxes where you had to turn the knob. So to have a remote, you had to get a cable box. We old school here. We're talking old school.
Yes.
And you could go to the black markets or the flea market, and the guy would look at you and go, "Hey, you want to buy a box?" And you go to the back of his van, and he'd sell you a box for like $100. Had all the channels and free pay-per-view.
Yes, everything was unlocked and everything. And this was like before computer hackers and everything. This was like circuit board hacking.
And you had to shut your mouth that you had one, because the neighbors would narc and you'd have the feds at your house to collect the damn box.
Oh yeah, but like, and if you allowed everybody else over at your house during like Super Bowl or anything, and you didn't invite one specific neighbor, oh yeah, they were going to call the cops.
Oh yeah, they were going to narc on your. Hey, let me watch the game. No, all right, fool, that's all right.
Yep. It's like, you remember last week when, you were hollering at my girl? Nah, you ain't coming over this weekend. And
Your
it's
ass is
like,
gonna be in jail this week, Holmes. Don't worry about it.
yup.
They'd be like, what happened? What happened to Frank next door? They found his illegal cable box. Hey, which one of you narked?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh
people
my
would
God.
buy those like crazy. The Time Warner cable boxes.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And if you were
See,
really fortunate, there were some people that enjoyed more than the pay-per-view channels. They were enjoying like the Playboy and Spice channels on those
oh,
things.
oh yeah. Like, what was it called? What was it called on HBO after hours? Red
Yeah,
Shoe
they had
Diaries or
like Red
something.
Sheep Diaries. Oh my god! And like, what was it? Their little like they had that one like specific sex show. I forget what it's
Yeah.
called. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, Real Sex. That was the name of the
Yes.
show.
Yeah. And
And you were
what
like
was it?
super naughty watching that, but that's how everybody learned shit at one point.
Yes. And what was that one? It had that old lady. She was like
Oh
80
my!
years old back in
Oh, I
when
remember
we
her.
were
Oh my god!
young.
Oh yeah, like oh god, that was like so disturbing. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Who remembers her? I don't remember her name. I used to know her
Oh,
name, but
Doctor
something.
something.
But she was like
She was
90 years old talking about dildos.
yeah. She was a sex
Oh, she was
therapist.
yeah, she was a trip. Oh my god. Like you felt horrible watching it. It's like watching your grandma tell you this shit. And
Right.
it's like, but you couldn't what is like it's like when you see something so bad that you can't look away.
Yes, it was
And
like a
that's what
train
she
wreck.
was.
But that woman knew her stuff.
She did. And that's why I was like, you don't want to watch it because she's like 10 seconds older than dirt. But at the same
Yes.
time, you can't look away because she's truthful.
Yeah. I remember her and Ron Jeremy was talking, and I'm talking about the most. It
Oh,
was the.
yeah.
I had to go take a shower afterwards, hearing
You
them
had to
two talk
bleach your
together.
eyeballs. Did I tell you about
Yeah.
the time I met Ron Jeremy at Comic-Con one year?
Oh, I'm
Not at
sorry.
the Comic-Con, not
Yeah.
literally at Comic-Con. He was at the hotel next
Yes, Dr.
door.
Ruth.
Dr. Ruth. That's right. Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Ruth.
Thank you,
That old
Crafty.
yeast infection.
Yes.
But no, I met Ron and I didn't realize it was Ron because I was sitting at the hotel bar. I had just came out of Comic-Con and I had a fucking costume on. And I'm sitting at the
Yep.
bar and this little like hobbit with no hair and smelled like grease fire is sitting next to me in a Hawaiian shirt. And
And
I'm
that
like,
pencil
you don't want to
mustache.
look at it. You know, when you see somebody like that and you're like, man, you smell like bad decisions from the 70s.
Right.
You don't want to look at it and you're hoping it'll just go away. Well, it didn't. And it sat next to me. And he was like, hi. And I was like, okay. And
Hi.
he was like, and that's all I said was, okay. And he was
Yeah.
like, how are you? And I was like, are you, or did we have a conversation I wasn't aware of or something? And he's like,
Right.
well, I'm Ron Jeremy. And I'm like, the porn guy? And he's like, yeah. And he holds his fucking hand out like I'm supposed to shake his hand. I was like, I don't know where that's been. Why would I want to touch you? And the fact that I was like the porn guy, and he was like, well, everybody knows my work. And I was like, unfortunately. And he's like,
Yeah.
what's unfortunate about it? And I was like, dude, I'm gonna go over. Just stay here. And I think he had never been told anything like that before in his life. Because he certainly got offended. But that was my encounter with fucking Ron Jeremy.
Me and Miss Star, okay, we went to WizardCon up in Austin because Miss Star loves John Delancey, Q from Star Trek.
Yeah.
And, and Miss Star loves Q, and she also loves My Little Pony because of John Delancey. And we went up there to go get his autograph and everything. Motherfucker was hitting on my wife right in front of me. He's like, hey, beautiful, how about after this and everything? you come
Yeah.
and sail around the world with me on my yacht, and all you got to do is just wear a bikini. And I was like,
You're like, I would have
you
told
know,
him, can
she's
I
my
wear
wife.
one too?
Yeah. I was like, you going to invite me? But she was just so happy and everything. She couldn't even make out words. She just giggled and just laughed and walked off like a little schoolgirl. And I'm pissed off. And then and I couldn't do anything because he's such a big actor and he had like 7
Right.
bodyguards around him. And I was like, ooh, I
I would
want to
have told
slap
him, you
him.
want to go around the world with me?
Yeah.
We can go
I,
all night, boy.
I you know what? He probably would have accepted. I mean, he
Probably.
didn't even look at me. He didn't even flinch an eye at me.
Yeah.
I got
Like
pissed.
Monster Ray. I would have told Q's punk ass that I was going to get Picard and the flirting right there. Oh, Picard. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's not the only one that hit on her too. What's his name? Ash from the crap. What is his name? Living Dead? No, not Living Dead.
Oh, no, you mean
Um,
Bruce Campbell?
Bruce Campbell. Yeah, Bruce Campbell.
Yeah. From Evil Dead.
We went. Yeah, we went to a bar that was having an after con party, and we were drinking and everything. And Miss Star walks by, and I love Borderlands. I love the video game
Yeah.
Borderlands, and I love the psychos. And I made my psycho costume and everything, and I'm running around, without a shirt on, and the orange pants and all this stuff. And Miss Star's getting jealous because all these like Borderland girls are hitting on me, and I'm not even like paying attention to them. Okay, but she gets hit on by celebrities, and we were walking out, and she was dressed as Batgirl, and no, Batwoman with the red hair, and
Uh-huh.
we were walking out, her, my sister-in-law, and me, and Bruce Campbell walks in with 3 bodyguards around. He stops in the middle of the thing, turns around, and grabs her by the wrist and says, "Hey, you want to join me in the VIP section?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I grabbed his hand without even knowing, and the bodyguard grabbed my hand. And it's
So we're
like,
all holding
No,
hands.
it's a big
yeah,
old circle jerk, just not with all men.
right. And I looked at Bruce Campbell, and I looked at the bodyguard, and I was like, "Who's gonna let go first?"
Matt's like, I'm not letting go. I'm winning the prize.
Yeah, and yeah, and Bruce Campbell was sitting there hitting on both my wife, Miss Star, and my sister-in-law and everything, wanting them to come back to the VIP lounge, and he was going to give them a special viewing of Ash versus the World. I was like, I will pack your Ash versus the World somewhere else. Like,
And you're like, I
oh
got I got some ash for you. I'll show you
yeah,
my flamethrower. I'll show you my boomstick, motherfucker.
Show him a picture of some ass feet.
oh my God, it was one of those minutes. It was one of those moments. It's like, do I go to jail for this or not?
You're trying to figure out how you can possibly tell the judge to validate this.
Right. Like everything's running through my head. It's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to take care of this? There's 3 guys right here. Who am I going to hit first?
Not me. I'm last.
Yeah. Oh God.
Fluff,
Yeah,
we'll
the
just
dude
put
that
some
grabbed my
makeup on
hand was
you,
like,
and
"Do what's this?"
I said we'll just put makeup on Fluff, and then Bruce Campbell will grab his wrist, And then we won't
And then,
have to
and, then,
worry.
and then I'll just rip ass so bad that he'll pass the out.
Hey, knowing Bruce Campbell, I heard he's a freak. He may like that.
Well,
Like,
if he does, then he's nasty. He's nasty.
Then you'll hear a scream and fluff going down the hallway as Bruce takes him to fucking Klaatu Barata Nikto or wherever the fuck he's going.
Hell no.
it's like, what was his name? The older guy from Kung Fu. That was Bill from Kill Bill.
Oh right. Oh damn.
What is his name? But you know, like all the kinky stuff he was into, like, you know, he was into all that choking and all that stuff, and that's how he died.
He choked himself to death.
No, didn't he die with saran wrapped around his head or some shit like that? Like,
no, he had a Vietnamese woman like on his chest, like choking him with a belt.
Oh right, like he was into all that like asphyxiation shit.
Yeah, erotic asphyxiation. Yeah, David Carradine. Yeah, thanks, Sapphire.
The only time Matt gets off to being choked is if he's choking someone else.
Right.
Fucking
oh man,
over here going, that's into asphyxiation. Yeah, choking other fuckers.
Yep. I mean, you know, I haven't been in a good fight in a long time.
Oh, so you're sitting on an ass whooping for someone? I see.
I am. You know, we have a training area at my headquarters and everything where we train new cadets, and every time we get new cadets for the new level that they're going to, like level 2s going to level 3s and whatever, I'm always there to be the instructor on self-defense, just so I can make people cry. That's all I'm there for, you know, like, and we have a personal defense trainer, but I'm there. I'm there, and I'm like, you went too light on that person. Come here. Let me show you how it really feels. Come here.
We'll stick you in the sparring match with that Billy Bitcher or whatever the hell that keeps floating around Twitter.
Hell yeah. I'd love it. Hey, Ocom. Hey, Monster Radio. Hey, Ryan. How you doing, brother? But, you know, I miss fighting. When I was young, I wanted to be a pit fighter. You know, not this bullshit, I'm going to hug a guy MMA fighting. You know, like,
I never understood that, where they're just sitting there in a hug pile.
Yeah.
Like, what? I was like, are you going to do something, or are you just going to smell his armpit, or y'all getting off to this, or what's going on here?
Oh, I have learned. I've watched these guys fight, okay? And it's always face to the dick. You know,
Right?
Yeah,
like,
it's always
not
that.
over there smelling each other's gooch and shit. It's like, what the
Yeah.
Does it smell like roses or ass?
It smells like fucking shiitake mushrooms.
It smells like when I let off in the toilet.
It's like, hey, what's the middle of my shorts smell like? Come here, put your face here, like chloroforming them. I mean, you know,
it's not too bad to wear one more match.
Yeah, I was like, whatever happened? You know, even when I went to school, we had a boxing ring in the middle of our gym, and if two guys were going at it, or, you know, arguing or whatever, they would literally stop class and everything, put gloves on each other, and fill the whole entire bleachers and everything with all the kids in the school, and they would literally fight in the ring. And who got their ass knocked out? Got their ass knocked out. And it
Well,
was a
that's how it
total.
used to be, where you just, you establish dominance and moral order that way. It's like, all right, you want
Yes.
to be an badass? Let's find out who's the real badass. That's how you
Mm-hmm.
had it back in the day, people. For those sitting in
Yeah.
the back row, we used to kick our siblings' asses, okay?
Yep.
Yes, we know you're right there. And we used to beat the shit out of our siblings, right?
I still do.
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
go to jail for it now, Fluff. But back in the
Oh
day,
yeah.
it was shut your mouth before you wake up mom and dad.
You're right. Yes.
And you used to damn near give your brother or sister a concussion. But that's how you established don't mouth off to my fucking ass anymore. That's how
Right.
you established moral order in the family structure. Just because you were older didn't necessarily mean you were the king of the castle.
Right.
So you might have a little brother that studied jujitsu and beat your ass. So he was the one that got the better candy at Halloween and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just how it was. But nowadays,
Yeah.
they let kids all get a participation trophy for just
Yeah, I
showing up.
know. Yeah. It's
But
like,
back in
oh,
the
good job,
day,
Timmy.
but back in the day, if you were gonna fight, all right, you're gonna fight. Someone's walking away with less teeth, and
Yep.
someone's walking away with their chin held higher. That
Yeah.
was
That's how I
it.
found
That's
out.
how it was.
Yeah. That's how I found out that one of my teeth was still a baby tooth when I was 15 years old, is because like
Looks like he got that
I
shit knocked out and it grew back.
well, my younger brother has gigantism. My younger brother is almost 7.5 foot tall. He's 400 pounds and he's younger than me. And he's pure muscle. And
Mhm.
I got pissed at him when I was in my 20s and everything, and he was younger than me. And he was, I'm 6'2", and when he was younger than me, when he was 12, 13, he was 6'5". And I got pissed at him, and I started yelling at him, and I turned to him, and he just hit me in the face as hard as he could, and I I tasted blood, and I spit out a tooth in my hand, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it's like, well, that may or may not be an expensive dental bill. I don't know yet.
Yeah, and I had to go to the dentist and everything. And my younger brother's just sitting there laughing at me and everything, and they're like, "Well, you're not gonna have a tooth growing back because that was your baby tooth." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
They're like, "You don't have a tooth above it." And I was like, "Well, shit." I was like, "You made me toothless."
Nah, I used
Mm-hmm.
to. I'm the youngest of five, so I had to survive, right? And I had this brother that every so often would run his fucking mouth or fuck with me because I was the baby sister until I hauled off and fucking gave him a 1-2 one day. And
Oh yeah,
I was smaller than him and everything, but he was like, you know what? She might not be able to kick your ass, but she's gonna go down trying. And I
right.
gained a lot of respect of she's not gonna quit. You might rough her up. I might have walked away with no teeth and broken bones, but I'll
Yep.
bite your damn ankle until you come to the ground. But
Oh
that's
yeah.
just how I was. Like I just was like, nope, I'm not quitting. And I've had it
Yep.
where I had blood coming down my forehead and I was still beating the shit out of someone. It was just how
Oh yeah.
we kind of grew up where it was like you let it's when people say like, you let the dogs kind of establish dominance in the pit, right?
Yep.
Um that's kind of how it was growing up back in the day.
Ah,
Nowadays,
you
no,
son
you
of a
can't do
bitch!
shit.
Oh fuck! Son of a bitch!
Uh-oh.
Mm.
You okay?
Mm. Yeah, scorpion crawled up my leg. It stung
Oh
me.
shit. Well, that ain't gonna
Oh, I
be
didn't even
okay.
feel it. Yeah, it was one of those little fucking brown Dodgers.
Oh
Ah,
dang.
Yeah. It's like getting stung by like 3 red hornets.
Yeah, that a scorpion sting is not fun.
But the little fucker died. Ah,
How did I know that
sorry.
Matt got bit by something? I just knew
Mm,
when I heard that. I was like, all right, was it a snake or was it something else?
yeah, I wasn't even paying attention, and I'm
Well,
wearing my work boots, and it crawled up over my work boot and got on my leg. And when I moved my leg down, I guess the vibration scared it, and it stung.
oh, damn. Well, here's Survival 101 in real life, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, yeah. Always pay attention to your surroundings, especially at night. And
Yeah,
scorpions love boots, so
and they love
always.
body heat.
Yes. Yes. It doesn't matter if it's 110 degrees outside. They still want that heat.
Mm-hmm. And they love the night. They love dark. So,
Yep. That's when they're more active. And like the brown dodgers are like the little 1 inch brown scorpions with like a black back. And they're fast. They're very
yeah.
fast. So that's why I didn't realize it was up on me. Damn it.
Yeah, black widows are pretty sneaky too. But black widows
But
aren't
they're
as
big.
adventurous. Yeah, black widows aren't as adventurous as a scorpion.
Yeah.
Usually black widows will kind of stay in their little corners. And if
Yep.
you mess with them, they kind or you disturb their web and they have to like venture out, then they're a little more conniving. But a
Yep.
scorpion, they don't fucking care. They're just gonna
But
show up where they want.
yep. Like brown recluses, brown
Oh
recluses
yeah.
love the dark. But if you're in their territory, they are fast as fuck. And
Oh yeah.
they will, and they don't just bite once and run away. They bite multiple places. I still
Oh
have a
yeah. When
hole
I
in the back
got
of my calf from a brown recluse.
yeah, I have one on my leg, my
Yep.
lower leg from a baby. It was a
Yep.
hatchling. And that had enough of a I had enough necrosis, which is, skin dissolving or skin,
Hey, Carol,
it
sis.
dissolved the tissue.
Yep.
And it had enough necrosis that you could literally stick the whole end of a Q-tip in it.
Oh,
It was
my.
so, yeah, from a fucking baby.
Yeah.
And they are quick to get that venom in you,
Yep.
and it just starts eating at the tissue.
Yep. I got mine was a female that was about to lay eggs, so her venom was more potent, and you could stick the tip of your pinky into the hole that
Yeah.
it created on me.
And it takes forever for that shit to heal and surface back up, and you'll have a nasty scar for quite a bit. I think mine was I took about a good 2 years. You can still see it. I can still point to
Yeah.
you where it was. But for about a year going into 2 years, it was like it had keloided and had a discoloring on it. It was fucking unsightly. I was so pissed off about it. And I had got it bit me at work, when I was working at one of
Yeah.
the funeral homes that was adjacent to a cemetery. And they just would go into buildings, looking for solitude, especially when
Yep.
they're, any type of disturbed ground or anything like that, which at a cemetery happens often. And they'll burrow in all kinds of shit. So they would get into the
Yep.
building. And sure enough, under my desk was this mama brown recluse and had her babies. And one of the babies got my leg. And
Oh yeah.
it
Yeah.
was just, I was so pissed off over it, and it looked so bad.
Oh yeah. They suck. They suck so bad, but and that's one of the things, but and you can't, like, and with like brown recluses and everything, most like like insect sprays and everything, like house defense and stuff like that won't
Yeah, they don't
affect
work.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
you literally have
We
to get
even
a specific poison just for them.
Yeah, I know a lot of places. I know in Arizona they like to use that what is it, diatomaceous earth
Yeah,
to place
yeah,
around their homes and stuff, but if you have pets, it's not a good idea. But, supposedly that helps a lot with it, but if you have specific plant life that attracts a lot of spiders, like your palm
yep,
trees and bougainvilleas and all that, like those bush type florals or greenery that grows and goes up the side of your house,
yep,
those are just like breeding grounds for those types of
yes,
arachnids and anything like that.
yeah. Any of the
Scorpions as
the
well.
like thassel, like the thassel vein, vines
Yeah.
that people let grow up on, those trestles and everything on their house.
Yeah.
Hell
And
no,
all
I
that
won't ever
does
go to your
is,
house.
yeah, that all that does is invite that type of life, those type of creatures, to not only have a place to breed and live, but they start climbing up, and you leave your upstairs window open for
Yep.
ventilation. Guess what? Now you've got new roommates,
Oh
because
yeah.
that's all they do is climb up there. So,
And gutters, like
mhm.
any gutter, like the leaves and everything that you put in there, you could like I've scooped out a whole entire handful, and I grabbed a wolf spider that had probably about 50 babies on her. Like, get up onto my
Mhm.
glove and everything, start crawling up my arm. I was like, hell no. I literally just rubbed my hand on the top of a burning hot roof and just like rolled it around.
Yeah. No,
But
I don't
even
mind
wolf
spiders
spiders,
to do. Yeah, I don't mind spiders to do what they need to do out in the wild and all that. I
right?
appreciate them. I don't want them on me. So like I try to avoid them. I don't want to be in their home system. I don't want them in my home system.
Yeah,
That's just how it.
yeah,
But you know what? It's hard to keep little creepy crawlies out of your house. But there's
yeah,
things you can do to keep that from happening on super substantial levels. Like there's some people that when they have lifted foundations, they'll find that they end up with scorpion nests under their
yep,
homes, or other types of I hate calling them pests, but I mean I guess that's what they're categorized as. Snakes,
yeah,
anything that burrows, they'll end up with large nests of these types of
yep,
um, creatures, and they're like, I have my house fumigated, I do this, and I keep getting them back, and it's like, well, it's because they have a huge nest under your home, like they're going to keep coming
right.
back. Some animals just take over, and
Oh
I've
yeah,
seen that with certain types of spiders that are very poisonous. They will consume a housing foundation from that's raised, because they're just deep into that earth.
yep. And I hate doing it, but I always have to crawl up underneath my house, the foundation and everything, and I find the holes that raccoons and armadillos and everything burrow, and they abandon, and they become snake dens. And I will take one of those glue traps and I will put it right at the opening of that hole. So when they
Hmm.
like, and I will hit it with a stick and back up, and whatever snake comes out and everything hits that glue trap and just like wraps them up in it. And I'll sit there and I'll just take my Bowie knife out and I will dispatch of it right there, because it's bundled up in glue and it can't move.
Yeah,
So
can't do
I'll
much.
just,
Yeah.
yeah. And I hate doing it, but I ain't relocating a rattlesnake. I ain't relocating, definitely no rattlesnakes or any other poisonous snake. But I'll try to keep the varmint killing ones, like the rat snakes and stuff like that, alive. But not every hole is a rattlesnake hole, and sometimes I do catch rat snakes or coral snakes or king snakes,
Right.
and I don't mean to, but
Well, when I lived out in Phoenix, rattlers were abundant. Like,
yeah,
you ran into a snake, 9 times out of 10, it was probably a rattler,
yep,
out, on the trails and stuff like that.
yep,
I kind of, there's no real way to say that you're trained with rattlers or trained with pretty much anything. Like, you're more well versed and you have a better understanding, but they're still wild creatures and they're still capable of pretty much anything. So I
yeah,
did take some safety survival courses and stuff like that because I had small children and stuff like that, and I needed to know how to handle aftercare of a bite, especially from a rattler or anything like that, or any type of, poisonous wildlife that is in your area. You should be kind of viced on. And I went and took a few survival classes on it and stuff at, like, the Y and White Cross and stuff like that. And if they
yeah,
have stuff available, they'll teach you.
yeah,
And so I was constantly finding rattlers, and people would be like, I have a rattler in my garage, and to call pest control to pick it up, they take a while. They're not going to just show
yep,
up right away.
yep,
And I would sit there and be like, well, you know what, let me help you out. I'm pretty sure I can get it out of your garage.
yeah,
And it takes a minute and it takes me some time, but I can usually get them to where they'll go on their own. But the problem is
right.
they are going to strike at you. So
Oh
you're going to
yeah,
have to take that consideration and safety precaution. And I've shooed them into a trash can, the ones that have the lids that slam down. I've just put
yeah,
that on the
yeah, yeah,
side, gotten them into the trash can and closed the lid, taken it out of the garage. We rolled it over to a field, opened it up. It came out on its own.
oh yeah,
And, there's ways of doing things, but it's a gamble. If you don't have, and I tell people, I was like, you can do what a lot of people do, they'll shoot it.
oh
And they're
yeah,
like, oh, I don't really want to have to do that, because you're not exactly out in the country or anything like that. And to hear a gunfire go off, would scare the neighborhood.
mm-hmm,
But
yeah,
if you're able to, if that's what you need to do, that's a possibility for you. If you're in an area where the snake's in your home or something like that, and you need to get it out of there before it harms something, you do what you got to do. But
yeah. Hold on, let
it's
me answer Oz real quick. See, Oz, like in Texas and everything, they don't want they don't want us poisoning snakes or anything out here
right. Same
because
here.
yeah, because we still do rattlesnake roundups and everything, so every rattler is precious for that. And also they want rattlers to be wild, so these rattlesnake hunters can capture them and milk them to make anti-venom out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yep.
it's kind of like a contradiction. They want these snakes alive and safe, but they also want to milk them to fight against to be an anti-venom to their venom, but they don't want us to kill them, so we don't have to worry about it. It's like, why? But
Yeah. No, they don't. They won't let us do anything that can be considered poisonous to them.
yeah,
But it's like you said, it's a contradiction because they'll tell you like, oh, you can put out snake traps, and some of them are not, just trapping a snake in a box. They're lethal. It'll
yeah,
cause a injury to them that would actually kill them if left in the
well,
trap for too long. So
yeah.
it's
Well,
very contradictory.
oh yeah. Sapphire. Um, a lot of the babies, unless they are a year, like 2 years old, most rattlers don't have. Like when they're babies and everything, they don't have rattlers. The rattle is from when they shed their skin and get bigger.
Right.
So that's what makes them rattlers. When they're a baby and when they're a year old to 2 years old, they don't have a rattle. So when you walk by, they will strike you without letting you know that they're around. It's only the older ones that will give the defense of the rattle. So sorry, sis.
No, you're fine. And that was a good point because a lot of people think that especially when they're little new hatchlings, they're very venomous, even as babies. And
Yeah.
the thing is, when they're babies, they bite multiply. Like they will keep biting at you,
Yep.
because they're little. And you can end up with 2 or 3 bites, and your arms swollen up like crazy, and having that. And if you're allergic, it's not a fun way to find out you're allergic by being bitten more than once.
Oh
But
yeah. Well,
when I've encountered a nest of baby rattlers, like, yeah, they don't have a rattle, they don't have anything. Their mommy does, and
yeah.
she's not going to be very nice to you. But the babies, they don't have anything, and they don't get a rattler for quite some time.
Yeah. One of my friends and everything that's out here in San Antonio, he has his own bushcrafting channel and everything out here. Um and he
Right.
was walking by and his dog was trying to warn him that there was something around, and he kept walking and everything, and he thought because he had a walking stick that the vibration from the walking stick would scare off any snakes. Well, this was a juvenile rattler that struck out from underneath a bush and hit him in the back of the leg, and he was in the hospital for 8 months. He had to take 23 anti-venom shots. He has muscle deteriorating in his leg. He also is going blind in one eye and has to get like complete correctional surgery on it to fix his sight, and he may only get 50% of his sight back.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, and that's from a juvenile. I think it was like a year old juvenile.
Yeah, they can be pretty intense, the bite on those.
Yeah.
Crafty asked about fire ant aftercare because they're allergic.
There, hold on. I literally just bought stuff for fire ants. Hold on. Go ahead and keep talking, sis. I'll be right back.
Well, there goes Matt.
I'll be right back.
Well, how are you guys doing? How's it going? Yeah, he went to go grab something that he just bought about fire ants. So, let's see what we got here. You can get these new bandages now called Snake Bandage, and they have small rectangles printed on the bandage in a small intervals, bandage pressure, and they form squares as you pull and stretch the bandage. Oh, okay. How tight to make the snake bite bandage? Oh, okay. See, in the States, when it comes to like snake bite care and first aid for snake bites, um, you don't see a lot of product just on your regular like at your regular stores, your regular convenience stores. Those usually have to go to like a survival surplus to get anything like that, or a specific pharmaceutical store. Sometimes they'll have them in certain areas. So it's interesting to hear what people are able to purchase and have available to them in various regions. Yeah, that's true, Oz. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of people when you live in like urbanized areas like cities and stuff like that. It's not saying that you won't experience, snakes or anything like that. I think snakes can appear anywhere, but more often than not, they don't. So they don't try to familiarize themselves with, um, snake bite aftercares or anything like that, or even the consideration of what to do. Sounds like something got Matt. When I went to North Carolina in June, I was lucky I did not encounter any snakes, no copperheads or anything like that. But I didn't really venture out too far. I'm one of those. I'm not gonna try to go looking for trouble. Yeah, I heard about that. That they'll just like fall out of a tree on you, and I'm like, okay, so okay. Well, we were in quite a few places in North Carolina and South Carolina as well. They weren't all cities, so we went to quite a few places.
Oh shit, my mic wasn't off. Hi.
Uh-oh. Welcome back.
Thank you. Okay. So, so, hi. Okay, you see this? See this? Where are you? Eliminator, ant, flea, tick, killer plus granules. That's what you need to get. Uh, you pour it around the barrier of your house. They will take the granules, take it back, eat it, and kill the whole colony. The queen will eat it. Everybody will eat it. They all will die. Awesome. Thanks, Oz, for telling me that. But that's what you need to get, Crafty. It's called Eliminator, and it's like $3 for one of these, and it treats up to 1,000 square foot. So it's safe to use on your gardens and all that stuff. It's safe for us, but bad for them. Fast acting, odor free to kill those fire ants. Oh, you wanted to treat yourself. Oh, I thought you were talking about killing them. Oh, never mind. Calamine lotion. That's the best thing. The purple calamine lotion. That's the best thing that you're going to be able to do. You're gonna have to let the the bite marks swell up to a white head, then put the calamine lotion on it, and let the calamine lotion soak on it for a while. Wash the calamine lotion off, then pop every single one of those white heads and soak your leg in alcohol.
Sounds tasty.
I know. I'm sorry.
Boil you some pasta noodles, pop the mussels on it. You'll be
Yeah,
great.
you're A-okay.
Then you become immune.
Yes, always. But there's really no, like, if you're allergic to it, there's really nothing you can do until you kill them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess you're saying best care is preventive care.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, especially with an allergy. I mean, I don't know if it's like an anaphylactic allergy or anything like that, but
Right.
an allergy, obviously it's going to make everything a little bit more heightened depending on the level. But yeah, anytime you're allergic to like I'm allergic to, of all things, mosquitoes. I'm one of
Yeah.
those people that gets the fucking welts from hell.
Right.
And mosquitoes love me. Of course they do, because I'm type O negative and I
Oh,
smell like a
yeah.
fucking buffet to them. So there could be 5 mosquitoes in a room and I'll be the only person they bite. There could be all of us in there and I'll be the one person.
Right.
And I will swell up like no tomorrow. I end up with the headaches. I don't have like, anaphylactic bad breathing or anything like that, but
Yeah.
it has that effect where I'll end up like itching like crazy, but I'll get like the really bad migraine from it
Yeah.
and all that. And I was like, freaking hate mosquitoes. I haven't found a purpose for them yet. I need more spiders so they'll eat the mosquitoes or something.
The best thing to do, you want to check your stagnant areas of water.
Oh yeah.
And because that's the one problem with mosquitoes. If there could be a tablespoon of water and a mosquito will lay 1,000 eggs
Oh
in
yeah.
it.
Well, we always get
And
like the neighbors that don't want to clean their pools and shit.
yep,
And that's how
yep,
we end up with mosquitoes. Like,
yep,
but even
that,
people that overwater their grass,
yep,
that creates, especially in the summer. Like in the winter, we don't have a worry about it at all.
yeah.
But in the summer, it can get.
Hey, big box.
We had one year that they actually had a curfew, and this was I was young when this happened. And it was back when I don't know what disease was flying around, and mosquitoes. There's always something going around with
Oh,
them.
the Zika or
Yeah,
whatever.
it was something where it was like it was causing all this deadly, causing all these issues, and they're like
Yep,
after sunset you weren't allowed outside,
yep,
and because of that, and they had to actually have crop dusting planes come and spray around to
yep.
keep the mosquitoes away or whatever. But like this year, knock on wood, they haven't been too bad. That I've encountered. Normally, like if mosquitoes are bad, I'm like I can't go outside at night.
Oh,
But
yeah.
this year I haven't, and I always have a spray like right by the door. So if
Yep.
I suspect like there's gonna be a mosquito issue, like 4th of July weekend was always, or 4th of July, and was always the worst for me because we'd be outside with the fireworks, and
Right.
I'd always end up bit somehow. But this year I haven't really had any issue. Like I said, knock on wood. But I swear they'll come find me. They'll ignore everybody else in my town and find me. And they will just be like, all right, there she is.
You
Let's
just got
get her.
that sweet smell, sis.
I guess. And that's the thing. Like, if I know I'm going to be outside, I won't
Yeah.
put any body spray, nothing, no lotion
Yep.
that has any smell, nothing, because I'm like, that's what they told me. Oh, you wear perfume, they're attracted to it. You wear this
Yep.
color, they're attracted to it. And I'm like, all right, I am wrapped in saran wrap out here. There's no way. And the mosquitoes are still like, haha, she looks like a leftover, and they'll just come get me. Never fails.
Yeah, they say don't wear black, that
Right?
don't wear too bright of white, don't wear yellow. But it's like they also did a test on that, and mosquitoes don't see color.
Right.
Mosquitoes smell your sweat.
That's what
Like
it is.
you-
Everybody says if you sweat, they're more attracted to that more than
and
anything. I
that
guess whatever we release, but
yeah, and that's the one, like, you know, out of all the little survivalists and everything, I do listen more to Les Stroud than I do anybody else.
yeah,
And, he is true. His one saying that he says all the time, if you sweat, you die. And it's true in so many different things, so many different situations. If you're in the middle of the wet season in Canada, if you're in the middle of spring and summer in the South, if you sweat, you're dying because the mosquitoes come after you, the gnats come after you,
yeah,
sweat bees, I mean, horse flies, everything is attracted to your sweat because they want that water off of you and they want that sodium that's in your
yep,
sweat. So, and the thing is, not all mosquitoes bite. Only the females bite and drain blood.
mm,
So the males don't care about you. They just want to fly around you because the females are there.
yeah,
And and when you sweat, when you wear cotton clothes, because cotton clothes doesn't dry out, cotton clothes hold that sweat in it.
moisture, yep,
Well, it also holds that sweat smell.
yep,
So if you're walking around in blue jeans and a cotton shirt and everything, even you may have been sweating all day long in a amusement park or the mall or whatever, but you dried off and now you're not sweating and you're still getting attacked by bugs. It's because it's your clothes that's attracting them, and people just don't understand that.
And then there's that whole issue of pheromones for certain things that,
Yep.
when you sweat and it's in the, pheromones are obviously embedded in your clothing,
Yep.
and all that. And you're just people are like, oh, well, why is this attracted to me? Well, you have a stink that they're attracted to.
Yep. You know, people say, "Oh, it's because they can sense the blood flowing through your veins and everything." No, that's not true. The only ones that sense that is leeches in a
Yeah,
water, and they're not sensing your blood. They're sensing the warmth of your body, and that's why they get attracted to you. Sorry, I'm drinking coffee
oh
at
no, you're fine.
1 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah, because we all
and
know you need to
after
stay awake for another 2 years, right?
yeah, and I just got out of I just had, caffeine poisoning from that 48-hour streak and
Yeah.
still go back to the caffeine. Uh Something's gonna kill me. It might be something it's gonna be something I love.
That's what Fluff always says. He's like, I'm gonna die eating watch. And I was like, yeah, that's just because you're in love with food.
I am too. Me and Fluffy will both be at an all you can eat buffet and we'll both be dead Did you ever see that
With
cartoon?
smiles.
Yes, with smiles. Uh, Have you? There used to be a cartoon. It used to be a comic strip and everything. Dilbert. Yeah, Dilbert.
Yeah.
Dilbert.
Oh yeah.
And they had a cartoon of him on TV, and I used to watch it all the time. And he told a story about how his dad left and everything, and he never saw his dad since he was like 5 years old. And they went to the mall, like Mall of America kind of mall, and went to an all you can eat buffet, and there was a shadow figure in the back corner of the buffet, and Dilbert went over there and it was his dad. And he's like, Dad, where have you been all my life? And he's like, I came to this Chinese buffet and it said all you
All
can
you can
eat.
eat.
And I paid one time and I've never left. They call me the Dragon of Minnie Mouse. That's
There's
good.
like
That's gonna be.
Fluff was like laughing at me when I was telling him about like the professional buffet eaters that
Yeah.
show up at like lunch, like at the tail end of lunch and pay the lunch price so they can get the
Yep.
dinner menu too. And he's like, I never even thought of it like that before. And I was like, you're such an amateur, Fluff.
You got to know the deals when you do it. Like
Well,
you go there the hour before.
I took him to Shabu Shabu for the first time. And
Ah,
he had never been, he didn't even know what it was. And I was like, it's all you can eat for 2 hours. And he's like, so I can eat anything I want on the menu. And I was like, plus the stuff at the hot bar over there. And he's like, for
yep.
2 hours. And I was like, yeah, but you're only going to last like 45 minutes. And he's
You're
like,
right.
bullshit. And he's like, bullshit. But what he didn't realize is you don't go fill up on rice and all that other shit over there. You're supposed to spend time eating all your meat for 2 hours. And he ate all the like greenery and shit, trying to be health conscious. And so they're bringing out like these prime cuts of meat. And he's like,
Yep.
we're showing him like, get your chopsticks and you swish it around in the soup.
Yep.
And he's like, this is really good. But he didn't, I was like, you're supposed to eat a bunch of the meat, fool. You're supposed to like eat this. And, that other stuff takes up prime real estate. And
We
he's
have
like,
we have we have a Korean barbecue where they
oh, I
have
love cooking.
they have the actual fire and everything in the middle of the
Yeah.
table.
Right. And you do
And
your own cooking. Yeah.
yeah, and from from noon to 3 o'clock, it's all you can eat, like meat. And you know, it's $35 a person, but it's all you can eat, like fat and like pork belly, prime rib, all the good stuff. But they will come and give you this huge bowl of white rice in the,
Yeah.
for each person. So you'll eat the rice with it and get full on because they send you this big huge bowl of white rice, and it's like
Yeah.
$3. But nah,
It,
I sit there and I just cook the meat over and over, and I'm like waving down the the
bring more.
waitress. Yeah,
We're all out of pork belly. Bring it. Bring more.
right.
No, and I've taken Fluff to like Korean barbecue, and he's like, well, being it from Mass, they don't have a lot of, certain, even if I don't even know if they do have them, but even if they did, he wouldn't go eat there on his own because he would have been
Right.
intimidated by it. But I'm like, no, because my daughters, they're like, anything that's Asian, they'll tell you all about it. And they're like, Mom, we got to take Fluff to like Korean barbecue because they thought it would be right up his alley.
Yeah.
And he sat there totally intimidated. He was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for you to finish cooking it because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But that was the thing. Like he didn't want to try new stuff because he was intimidated by it. And I'm like, nope, try it and tell me what it is you don't like about it, so I'll know what to order next time. But
Yeah.
with him, it's like he doesn't know what he likes until he tries it. So
Ain't that
he's
the
always
truth?
that's why I'm like, I'm not going to give you something that I think is going to be disgusting for you, so just taste it.
Yeah. What's up, Simon? How you doing, brother? I just now noticed that Simon Dogface Boy's here. He's
Yeah,
a good guy.
he's been talking to you for the last 20 minutes and you've ignored him.
I have a problem with keeping up with chat while I'm having a conversation with the person up here.
It's just me. I've monopolized on your mat, guys. Sorry.
Yes. And it's been what, 3 weeks since we've been able to talk,
Well,
like
yeah,
because of everything.
you had the caffeine poisoning because you refused to sleep like a human being.
Right.
And then work, like you had a weekend where you were working and then stuff like that. So I always tell people, I was like, we aim for Sunday nights, but life happens.
Yeah, and it's I'm I'm trying. I'm trying, and me and we can bounce off of each other, and I love talking with you, but it's just that
It's always a good time.
there's yeah, there's not a big handful of people that I can actually talk to normally about anything, sis. It's like,
Oh, I hear you on that. Well, you heard me tonight in my live stream where I'm like, all right, listen here, people. We're all going to play fucking nice. And if we can't play nice, we're not going to play at all right?
yeah. And
But no, I get people being like, "Oh, well, she's a bitch." And I'm like, well, yeah.
yeah,
Yes, I am. Go cry to your
yeah,
mommy if you don't like it. That's not my fault you can't hang, I stopped
right.
trying to please people a long time ago.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm the same way, like I'm I'm done. I'm done with everything on here,
Yeah.
like for the longest time I was going to say, fuck YouTube, and I was going to go to Skillshare, and I was
Mhm.
going to be like, at least on Skillshare, when I bring out a video or I do something on Skillshare, at least I make 50 cents on a video on it because they
Right.
charge people a dollar a video. And but but the thing is, I don't leave here because I love too many of y'all, you know? Like, I'm not here for money. I'm not here for anything.
Same.
But
Yeah, I tell people all the time. I was like, shit, monetizing my channel. Well, eventually we'll figure it out, right? But it's
yeah,
not.
right.
You don't. And even when you do, like, this is the misconception. Oh, they're monetized. They must be making all this money.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Oh, I
Like
mean,
Fluff's monetized, but I can tell you this much: between the gas, the hotel stays, filming locations and all that, you spend money. You don't make
yep,
money. You spend money. And the only
yep.
thing is, is it fun to do it? Is it worth it to you? If it is, continue doing it. But if your ideal is like, I'm gonna make this, $10,000 a month income, like you're lucky to make 200 bucks. You're
Oh, yeah.
lucky. You're lucky if you bring home 200 bucks in monetization in a month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
And,
it's a pipe dream, to be
yeah.
honest with you. That's what YouTube is.
And they take how much of a percentage out of all your stuff
I
too,
think
like
it's
super chats and all
60%.
that?
Sixty
Yeah.
percent. It's a
So
lot.
you're
So like
making,
if you get a super chat, like let's say you're monetized, I give you a $10 super chat, you're gonna see like
four?
$5,
Yeah.
$4 or $5, depending
Yep.
on what the percentage. You make Google money being on
Yep.
here. We work for Google. Like it's
Yep.
insane. And I know some YouTubers that they do make good money, but they're
Well,
literally
yeah.
on here all the time. Like they
And
have
I
made it
can't
their
do
life's
that.
work. And I have a trade. Like I'm a funeral director,
Hmm.
And
Right.
my job will always be there. If Google shuts down tomorrow, I still have a job. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's the way I look at it. All my eggs are never going to be in one basket. Not with the
Oh
way
yeah.
this world is.
Oh no. Like I just day before yesterday, um I don't I'm not here for people's political problems or saying, so I don't want to hear it in the chat,
Mm-hmm.
okay? But I got an offer in Vegas from the Trump International Hotel and Casino to be a 24-hour uh casino guard for $45 an hour. And free room, free board, and 3 free meals from any of the 5 restaurants that's in there. And I put in my acceptance, you know, reply email, and I'm just waiting on them to contact me back about it.
Yep. You got to do what
But
you got to do in this world. And
yeah,
you know what? One of the things I told people was when the virus shut the world down,
yeah,
right? People were on hiatus from work. They're on, furloughs and all that. I had more work than I ever had.
yep.
I couldn't keep up with my work. One of the
Oh
things
yeah,
my dad taught me was if the world shut down, do you still have a way to make money?
yep,
And that was his big thing. He's like, that's why some people get into even law. Um, the attorneys didn't have any work because the courts were shut down. So
yep.
you think I spent all this money going to law school and all this and that and the other, and they didn't even know what
No,
to do with litigation hearings. They had to
yeah,
find a way to do Zoom calls, so everything slowed down dramatically.
yep,
But doctors obviously had work. They had more work than they could have. They had more work up to
right,
their eyeballs. But it made me validate my decision all the more of getting into mortuary science.
yep.
And I trust me, I catch a lot of flack from people to this day of like, oh, you're a mortician, oh,
Oh,
you hang out with dead people all day,
yeah,
oh, and they look, you don't look like a funeral director, you don't act like a
yeah.
funeral director. I'm like, is there a fucking creed that we're supposed to follow? Or
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Am I supposed to look like Gomez from the Adams Family?
I
Like,
know, right? I'm supposed to like answer the door and be like, "Welcome to the funeral home." Like, I mean, what the fuck? Like, what am I supposed to? No, of course. I mean, I wear a lot of black, but but I sat there and said my job got really heavy a lot, and it still is. But
yeah,
um, I had so much work that I just didn't. I was at the funeral home 20 hours a day. It
yep,
felt like. And I was like, my job, for what I do, will always have work. You're not going to automate funerals anytime soon. Sorry.
no,
You might automate
no.
a grocery store, but you ain't automating the funeral industry,
Oh
to where
yeah.
my job's obsolete anytime soon. It's not happening.
Well, I mean, what is it? What was the study? There is a human dying every 5.3 minutes in the
Yeah.
world.
Mm-hmm.
Like every minute, every 5.3 minutes.
Yep.
Like so, it, it
It-
it's it, it's bad to say, but it's like, you know, your business is kind of like fast food. It's always going to be around no matter what.
exactly. And that's how
Yeah.
you kind of have to look at where you invest, where
Yep.
your interest is in your time and your effort, and where that return's coming from. Because if
Yep.
you're on that thin ice of like, hey, if the world shut down, am I still going to have an income from this?
Right.
It's, if that's a gamble to you and that might cause you to lose your home or anything like that, you might want to consider a secondary investment or a secondary something that generates a passover income or something. And
Well,
that's what I tell people, and that's a great lesson in survival. It's
yeah.
urban survival, but it's survival. is
Right.
where does your income come from? How do you feed your homestead?
Mm-hmm.
And
And
that,
that's the thing people don't understand. SHTF isn't I'm trapped in the middle of God knows where country and I gotta survive. SHTF can be you losing your job, you losing your house, you losing
Mhm.
everything and being out on the street.
Yep.
You know, it's but the big all these fear mongers on YouTube and everything that yes are in my community. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're all fear mongers and they make people fear everything else instead of reality.
Right.
And they never say, oh, SHTF is losing your job, losing, your house, losing your car, whatever, or, you losing everything and living out of your car. You have to go from everything that was in your house that you had, and now you have 3 pairs of pants and 3 shirts, and you live out of the trunk of your car.
Yep.
You don't see that on any of these other survival shows.
And honestly, when that had happened to me,
Yeah,
literally overnight, I went from home and everything to a car and the clothes on my back.
right.
That's part, like I call, that's my Survivor series. Like I had to learn, all right, not only am I having to emotionally prepare myself for what I was enduring because I was also going through a divorce.
Yep.
So my emotions were everywhere. I'm also a mom, and
Mm,
I'm now in survival mode. Now it's more of an urbanized survival mode where I'm not roughing it, but I mean, to be honest
right.
with you, you are.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not out in a forest. I'm in the urban jungle here. And now I
Yeah.
have to figure out, where can I park my car safely to sleep in? Where can I
Yep.
get supplies with what I have in the bank, which wasn't much? And
Yeah.
how do I survive until, the next morning? And
Yeah.
that's a scary way to think about things, but you can be afraid or you can be, fearless and get it done.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to cave to the fear, you will be crippled, and you're going to deplete yourself emotionally. You're going to deplete yourself physically, because you're not going to sleep because you're afraid of where you're sleeping,
Yep.
this and that. And granted, yeah, I did sleep with one eye open, but I slept,
Right.
because I had to get up and go to work the next day. Because
Yep.
the only way to better my situation was to keep going, keep my job, keep this. Don't cave into your shit. Don't cave into what you feel. Cave into what you just continue with what you know. And
Yep.
that's what I had to do. And that's something that, when the economy tanks and you lose your house, you lose whatever, you have to reduce down to, like you said, sleeping in the car with
Yeah.
what you got and what can fit, essentially. That is a skill that everybody should have, the idea that they never want to use it, but also the
Hmm.
intellect of having it in case they do.
Right. And that's one of the things. It's not like, everybody has been so pampered, thinking that the government's going to help them. The government's going to give them food stamps. Government's going to give them, insurance. The government's going to give them WIC, all this stuff. You have to wait. You have to wait time for all that stuff.
Right.
And, they may not give it to you. It's all based on everything. And like, like here in Texas and everything, when I broke my leg and I was on the couch and everything, yeah, I had what is it, not Geico, Aflac.
Right.
And I was getting money and everything from Aflac and stuff, and they told me I could apply for food stamps. And well, I did it. I applied for it and everything. And they had me hobble my ass all the way up to Austin, Texas to wait 6 hours to talk to a person. They wouldn't even talk to me over the phone or anything.
Yeah.
And I had to wait through all that just for a person to tell me that they would only give me $25 a month because I made $1 more a month than the state minimum requirement to get food stamps. And it's like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah, you'd have to be a year without work before you would get the full benefits of food stamps. And that would have been $250 a month.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's
And it's like,
it's not even enough to feed you in
no,
today's market. What's
yeah,
$250 in groceries anymore? You know, maybe
right.
2 weeks if you buy meat. You know, to get a decent piece of meat, you know, you're talking like, you know, anywhere from 10 to 15 bucks per meal.
Yep.
So if you look at the 250, it doesn't, I mean, you could stretch it, but you're not getting, probably you're not going to be considering proper nutrition
Yeah.
in those numbers. And that's unfortunate that our government doesn't
Mm-hmm.
consider its very own food pyramid that it's implemented
Yep.
as proper nutritional guidelines, which it's not, but we'll just go with it, in the
I know, right?
correlation of how much you should be given um, to supplement food. It's
Yeah.
just insane.
With that $25 for a month, I got 8 pounds of beans. I got a 15-pound bag of rice, and I got a shitload of hamburger helper meals. You know, the $1 boxes.
Oh yeah.
You know, because I'm a hunter and I had, you know, backup meat and all that stuff in my deep freezer. And with a broken leg, I can still pick off a deer in my front yard with a 22 rifle. I mean, and I could just have one of my, well, at the time, my brother-in-law, before he passed away, and he could have went out there and gutted it for me or pulled it up to the porch for me, and I could have gutted it. But you know, but a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people
Yeah.
do not have the ability to be able to do that. I can shoot on my land. I can hunt on my land. But most people live in HOA, you know, housing
Yeah.
eh,
Yeah.
or the city, and they can't do any of that.
Yeah. And there's no real wildlife near you to even if you could. I mean, if the wildlife's not there because you live in an urbanized area, there's no
Hmm.
additional supplementation. You
Right.
know, so you're really relying on the grocer or butcher or whatever is near you to supply you with what you need.
Jocko, my insurance paid most of it. I had to pay 4 grand out of pocket, and I cracked my tibia in 2 different places, and I broke my tibia in the middle. And they had to put a reconstructive support bracket on the inside of my tibia. And I was out of work for 8 months, and if I didn't have insurance or anything, it was a $60,000 surgery, reconstructive surgery for it. Yeah. Hey, in Texas, we can. I mean, in Texas, you can hunt your food. You can hunt if axis deers. You don't need a license to hunt because they're an invasive deer species from Africa, and they were brought over here in Texas during the 70s for exotic game hunts, and they got out and started breeding like crazy. And now they are interbreeding with white-tailed deer and killing off the white-tailed deer population. And you can kill axis deer all day long. And also, I turn a profit on tanning the hides of axis deer. I make around $300 for every axis deer hide that I tan. Hold on. What's free in Britain? Oh, the surgery would be free. Oh, yeah, y'all are lucky in other countries, but it's always give and take.
Yeah.
Like in Europe, you can't go out and hunt or do whatever with a gun unless you have special permits and all this stuff. And it's give or take on a lot of things.
Pros and cons pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
There's some people that really want the American, quote, quote, the American dream, because of the things that we, stand for, in the United States with, selective freedoms and all that. But, yeah, we have to pay for our health care a lot. Our health care is very expensive here.
Yeah.
Which is why you
And
see
our
a lot of
medication.
people, it's to survive here health wise. If you are relying on medication, you're pretty fucked, to be honest with you. Because a diabetic medication here is insanely expensive.
$700 a bottle without insurance.
Yeah, any medication's expensive, but life sustaining stuff, like for certain people that are born with insulin resistance or anything like that, no fault of their own, diet's not going to fix it. They are reliant to their insulin medication that they need, and they pay. Oh God, it's so expensive. My heart breaks for people that will have life sustaining necessities with medication, because they just gouge so bad here.
That's why I used to be able to go to Mexico and get a year's worth of insulin for like $120. And that would be a year's worth of insulin, and 12 bottles of insulin, dirt cheap. Come over here and try to buy that exact same insulin and everything would cost, you couldn't do it unless you're paying out of pocket for it. And that's $700 a bottle. And nobody can afford that. But go across the border, pay $20, go see a doctor on the corner of the road. 20 minutes, I'm out with a prescription for the insulin. Walk across the street to the pharmacy, pick it up. I'm back out in like 3 hours, and I'd drive all the way back home, and I'd be good. But now, because they've tightened the border so much, and I've got the first and the second vaccine, but I don't have the booster. So now that I don't have the booster, I can't cross the border.
Yeah.
And it's like, now I'm screwed. Now, but the good thing is Walmart sells $25 70/30 blend insulin for $25 a bottle, and that's 70% of the long lasting, 30% of the fast acting mixed together, and it's good. It works every month I buy 3 bottles. Well, 3 bottles to 4 bottles, and I stock them. So
Yeah.
100 bucks for 4 bottles instead of 125 for 12 bottles. I mean,
You
still
do what you got to
expensive.
do, though.
But you can hunt a lot of stuff in Scotland, Jocko. You can hunt what is it, the fat tail ram. You can hunt what is it, red deer. You have a specific breed of deer out there. I think it's red deer or but you know it, there's things you can hunt out there. I know there's Scottish rams that you can kill and bring home and eat. Because half my bloodline's Scottish, so I've been doing a little research on Scotland. But it's like when I left my dad. I left my me and my dad got in a knockout drag out fight when I was 16, and I packed just my clothes and everything that I had in my uncle's drop bag, and I walked out, and I never looked back. And I stayed 3 months on a couch in my friend's garage. And one winter, his mother was going to park the car in the garage, and she opened it up and saw me shirtless on the couch and started screaming. And then she realized it was me, and she was like, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I didn't know who you were. He didn't tell me you were staying with us or anything." And I realized, I can't be doing this. I can't, like I can't use somebody else to stay. And I went to school. I worked 2 jobs, and I rented me a economy a size apartment for $340 a month. And at that time, minimum wage was 5.30. Yeah, 5.30 an hour, and I worked 2 jobs, and I still didn't even have enough money to. Luckily, I still had state insurance with my diabetes until I was 20 because of my dad, and I was able to get free insulin and everything. But when when it came to food, after paying my rent, my water, my bills, and my car payment, I had enough money to buy a jar of mayonnaise and a loaf of bread. And I had to pull one piece of bread out a day and put mayonnaise on it, and that's all I ate all day long. And that's that's the reason why I do this, is because I was poor. I mean, I know how it is to be starving, and I know how it is to get food out of a dumpster behind a restaurant and eat it because you have nothing else. And that's survival.
Yep, indeed. Survival is, like you always say, it's the willingness to continue.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to decide, am I willing to eat what is in front of me, even if it's not from a clean plate? And sometimes that can mean it's coming from a trash can, it's coming from a
Yeah.
dumpster. It can mean it's coming from a pond. It can mean it's coming from the air. You're going to shoot it down yourself. Or, and like you said, shooting a deer, are you willing to take the life of an animal in order to sustain yourself, or are you, what are you willing to do? But it's the willingness. If you have
Right.
the willingness, you can survive. Is it going to be, 5-star accommodations? Probably not. If you're poor, or your trade or your bartering isn't going to provide you with a lifestyle that you like, and like everything in life is barter, money for goods, bartering, some people don't have the economical resources to barter well. And in those cases, they survive a little different. And that's the way I look at it. I take away the systematics of the hierarchy of I make more money than you and therefore I'm better than you. If the world crashed tomorrow, you've got green paper. How are you going to live? I've got knives and I've got stuff that's going to, and skills that are going to have me gut this animal and this fish. I'm going to live. Are you?
Right.
So don't think about skill and knowledge and intelligence and drive and endurance. That's going to be worth a hell of a lot more than somebody who doesn't know shit and has a lot of fancy green paper. Okay?
Yep.
To other man, that green paper means something. But in the primal instinct of things, it's paper.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I tell people. That's what I tell people. You made a great point with that. I tell people there's all these survival channels and all this stuff that's telling people put your money into gold and silver and put that as a backstock and hold on to it. In SHTF, man puts a price on gold and silver. In SHTF, when the world crashes, look at Venezuela. Venezuela was taking gold and silver for about 3 months. Then they weren't taking anything. It was barter. It was, what do you have for this? What can I get for this loaf of bread? It wasn't, oh, I'm going to give you a gold necklace or a gold ring or whatever anymore, because they are like, I have enough of this stuff, because Venezuela was so rich in that materials that everybody had plenty of gold and silver or whatever to give away. But in America and everything, 90% of people do not and are not rich enough to buy gold and silver as backup to pay. So most of these cities and most of these places are going to stop. It's going to be bullets. It's going to be knives. It's going to be guns. Anything that can be used to hunt and cut and harvest wild edibles, live animals, anything like that for their game. Fishing poles, stuff that's going to get food. And I'm tired of all these people saying, oh, put your stock into gold and silver. That's going to save you if end times come. Bullshit. It's not.
No, it's not. But Jocko, I don't think the end of civilization is imminent. I think it's a possibility, much like anything else. We're reliant on machines. We're reliant on machines for everything. We're reliant on everybody relies on banking. Banking
Yep.
is a machine. You rely on a
Uh-oh. Did I hold on, Taro. I think something went wrong. I can't hear you, sis. But that's also true, Jocko. Yeah. A lot of other countries don't give a shit about America. And that's a problem.
There we go. Sorry.
Okay, awesome. You're good, sis. I was just holding down the fort until you came back.
No, I don't think that the end of civilization is imminent. I think when we
Yeah.
rely on machine for anything, and we do, if you've ever been to a store that's had a power outage, I can speak for America, I can't speak for everywhere else. And I can speak for Mexico because this happens over there too. When their power goes out, you can't purchase.
Right.
They close the store, right? So, um, in the sense of you being reliant on something in order to permit you to have the resources you think you need in the world, yeah, your civilization is dependent on something. And when it's dependent on something and that something can fail easily, because it can, it's a machine. Machines fail.
Yep.
And when it fails, where are you?
Yep.
That's what I mean by that. So I don't think
Mm,
Americans are afraid to look out. I think people want to see Americans as afraid to look out
yeah.
because it makes you
There,
feel safe.
there's a handful of Americans that want to close the borders. They want to be the America 100 years ago, where we were just trading with everybody else and everything was homegrown and made in America. Yes, that is the stereotypical American way of thinking now, Jocko, but not with everybody. We're
Mm-hmm.
not all the same. It's just
No.
like there's a lot of people in the UK and everything that are xenophobic and are afraid of other countries and stuff also. So it's the same thing that goes around everywhere. It's just a different color of water. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Well, there's a lot of us that know how to live off of our farms, live off of our own resources. We have Amish that do it all the time.
Yep.
They literally live off of their communes and their land and their resources, and that's it. They're not even relying on electricity. Okay, that's how
Yeah.
unreliant they are on stuff. That they have their own systematics, and if the world shut down tomorrow, the Amish are surviving. They're prepared. They've been training for that their whole lives. But
Hmm.
with us who have become urbanized, where we are reliant on being able to go to a store, we're reliant on pretty much everything. Yes, when if the world flipped that switch tomorrow for whatever reason and said, "All right, we're in the Hunger Games now, survival of the fittest," there's
Yep.
some that are going to fall between the cracks because they've never been shown any other way other than to be reliant.
Yep.
And once upon a time, we were taught, hey, you have to clean up where you eat. You have to learn these things. You had to go get eggs from the hen house,
Yep.
because not everything was going to the grocery store and getting stuff. You had your own things that you grew at home from the garden. You picked your tomatoes.
Yep.
You had a steady source of food that wasn't reliant on something else. It is less like that in some areas. Some areas are still very much like that. So, like I said, there's a
Jocko,
pitch.
Britain didn't create America. It was people escaping England to
Mm-hmm.
find their own land because they were tired of being under and they were tired of paying somebody to live on land and work the land and not own their own land. And then Britain came over and said, "Oh, y'all are colonists, so y'all are British by nature." Well, to tell you the truth, like my ancestors, which are Cherokee, we didn't want y'all. We didn't want y'all here.
Yep.
Y'all y'all only came over because you had things that went pow and burned and was able to kill us. So, it not everywhere like not British have more enemies around the whole entire world than than y'all believe.
We got part of their. We got part of the British monarchy living in Los Angeles.
Right.
Let's not forget that they escaped them and went over here. Well, granted, he married an American, but there you go.
Actually, didn't both the princes marry Americans?
No, she's Kate is an American, is she? I don't think so.
I thought she was.
I don't think
I thought
so.
she was like Canadian or something.
I can't. Don't quote me on that. I just know that Megan's from
Yeah.
LA, and her dad lives in Tijuana. That's what I know
Yeah,
about
yeah,
them.
that's it.
But
At least one of them went American.
But I mean, even if the British came here, okay, all
No,
right.
half
What's
of
that? What does
me,
that say
half
about
of me
today?
is Scottish. Half of me is Scottish. Half of me is Cherokee. I
Yeah,
said half.
but at the same time, like, are we competing against who's bigger and better, right? All of a sudden, like, because truth be told, stick me in a boxing match with somebody and someone's surviving and someone's not. I don't care what nationality you are. I don't care where you're from.
Oh, hold up. Jocko, I'm both. I'm half Scottish from my mother's side, and my dad's side is Cherokee. I am half. I'm a mutt.
Oh, I'm a huge mutt.
Yeah.
My grandfather's from India, and I'm Sikh, and I have royal bloodline in me. You don't see me bragging about it. Who cares?
My mother's my mother's last name was Breedlove, and they were from the Grant clan of Scotland, I believe. But yeah, everybody in the world is a mutt anymore.
Everybody's a
There is
mutt.
no,
There's no
yeah,
pure
there,
bloods. There's no.
there is.
Give me a break. But I mean, and even if there is, I don't care who you are as an individual person. That matters to me. Um,
Yep,
Bloodlines and all that might matter to some people. We kind of, anymore in today's society, they don't
yeah,
really follow bloodlines anymore. I'm sorry. It's just maybe in some places they do. Maybe I'm speaking out of the side of my mouth here. But you go anywhere. I'm sorry. I go to Mexico. They don't give a shit about my bloodline there.
yep,
If they care if I can speak their language,
yep,
but which they can, which is great. But
yep,
if I go to India, I speak Punjabi. My maiden last name is Singh.
yep,
I rank over there because I have a last name that ranks.
right,
And I go anywhere else. I go to Canada. They don't give a shit what I look like or act like over there.
yeah,
I mean, I guess certain parts might, but I went to Jamaica. They didn't give a shit. They were just like, hey, don't go into Trench Town. That's about it. But I go anywhere, and you know what? I'm be a good person. You
yep,
act like an ass, you're gonna get treated like an ass. You act like a good person, you're gonna be treated like a good person. And that's
oh
what I
yeah,
tell people. I stopped caring what somebody was, their social status, all that, a long time ago. And guess what?
oh yeah.
I'm a lot happier now than I ever was.
I
Because when
take,
you try to live for the applaud of man, you'll fail every time. Every time.
yep, I take this one quote, and I took it to heart ever since I've heard it. We all bleed red.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter.
It don't matter. At the end of the day, you know what? I'll tell you right now. Any one of you came to the world ended tomorrow and everything shut down. Any of you guys needed to eat, come to my
Yep,
house. I know how to gut fish and kill animals. I'll feed you. Because at that
same
point, it
here.
ain't gonna matter what you are, where you came from. It's gonna matter if you're eating and you're surviving. Amen.
Yep,
And
and
that's why we're here.
right, and that's that's what this channel is all about. This channel is all about making sure that you are able to be able to survive. be able, and it's not just whatever. It's survive whatever, not just specific bullshit that TV and these other big name whatever are trying to
Mm-hmm.
feed, trying to tell you. You know, it's survival is every day.
Yeah.
It is. And it's not going to change. There is more difficulty levels, like a video game. There's novice, easy, medium, and hard. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's just where you are when it happens.
Yep. And it's like like even a lot of people know I'm a mom. I got teenage daughters and I got a new little one, but my big thing to teach them is survival so they don't have to be in survival mode. That's my biggest thing I teach them. But I have
Right.
them watch Matt's channel about, because he provides such a good insight on the common sense of surviving, and it's not just wilderness. It's wilderness in conjunction with urbanized living and stuff like that. And that's what I can appreciate from his channel versus other channels that are strictly on you have to do it this way or you're not going to survive.
Yes.
Matt brings that no nonsense approach to survival within your element. Not everybody's element is the same.
Right.
So, regardless of income bracket, he's like, if you got more money, buy better shit. If you don't, let's go to the Dollar Tree and build a pack. And he has
Yes.
shown people that. And there is nothing wrong with going to the dollar store, or the mom and pop shop and building a survival pack that's going to last you 5 to 7 days, because that's
Yeah.
more than what you had 10 minutes ago. And
It it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have to go to a secondhand shop. It doesn't matter. You're going to find things. I'll tell you right now, you can go to California and you can go to a Goodwill or Salvation Army, and there's hundreds of through trail hikers that are doing this as a hobby. And
mm-hmm,
once they're done with that bucket list of theirs, that whole entire gear and everything that they spent $1,500 to $2,000 on goes straight to the Goodwill, goes straight to
right,
whatever. I've seen Katadyn filters that were never even used at Goodwill, and I pick them up. Katadyn filters are in the $100 to $200 range, and I can pick it up at a secondhand store for $3 to $4.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I saw there was a gentleman, I can't remember his channel, but I was like binge watching one day, and I
Yeah.
came across him. He came up in, like the algorithm. He took $20 and said, I have $20 to survive, to build a survival kit to last me no less than 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
He started at the Goodwill. He bought the backpack there. I think that was the most he spent, was the backpack.
Yep.
And then everything else was resourceful tools that he could repurpose. So if he could get something secondhand, he would get it secondhand. But he went to any little shop and trade, and he even traded stuff in. He's like, okay, can I trade you this for that?
Yep.
That type of situation. But he managed to build a pack with food and survival tools. Granted, not much, but he did it for
Yeah.
about, I want to say $20.55. Because there was a few items he was taxed on.
Yeah.
But
You
he
can't
did
help the
it.
taxes.
Yeah, but he did it, and he's like, look, now I have to rely on these tools to get me food. And, granted, he wasn't able to afford a tent or anything like that, but he spent most of his money on tools to produce those extra survival days.
Yeah.
And he's like, now, if you're someone who doesn't know how to do any of that, this $20 challenge is going to look different for you. But he did it based off of his intellect, which I thought was really awesome.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was like, I wonder, like, I don't know if I would film a video doing it, but I wonder if I just took like the concept and went to places and decided, okay, this is $20 worth of stuff for me.
Yeah.
What can I do with it? And that's kind of a food for thought process that I try to implement to some people, is stretching things as far as they go and getting creative as you do it. Because if you know that's all you've got, you're going to get creative, or you need to get
And
creative.
see, a lot of people don't understand that, like Goodwill and Salvation Armies and stuff, specific days of the week, they have specials on certain colored items.
Yeah, they're
Like,
colored tickets. Yeah.
yeah, you'll get
And if you're
50% off blue or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
and if you're over a certain age, you'll get a senior citizen discount. They honor military and stuff like that. And I know some of them would even they would offer discounts to guard card holders,
yep.
and stuff like that. So there's always a chance to save a few bucks, and check
Oh yeah.
different Goodwills in different areas. Like when I travel, I love looking at Goodwills in different areas. Like the Goodwills the stuff you'll find in Goodwill in Texas is going to be different than you find in San Diego, where I live.
Oh,
Versus even in Tennessee, their
yep.
Goodwills there is going to have so much stuff that's different, and it's cool to see what you'll find. It really
Oh,
speaks a lot about that area, you know.
and a lot of the back like country Goodwills, the ones that's in the far out country road, small towns and stuff like that, you're going to find items in there. You're going to find, the old um what are they called? Stanley cutlery knives, the carbon steel kitchen knives that have been used for generations as hunting, skinning knives that are carbon steel that are $20 to $30 for that knife, but you're going to find it for like $1 to $2 at.
Yeah.
But
Jocko, Goodwills are, like when you want to donate stuff that you no longer use, and there's certain stores
secondhand
that will
shops,
yeah, they're secondhand shops, and they just resell it,
yes,
to turn a profit for their organization or anything like that. Just a secondhand shop.
yeah, that yeah, Sapphire said the same thing. Yet the terminology gets changed. We in America we don't say secondhand shops anymore because it's considered derogatory.
Yeah.
So it's all got to be politically correct. It's like when we say yard sales or garage sales, it's like a boot sale for people in the UK and
There
you
you
know
go.
yeah, charity shops, yeah.
Yeah, they all have their own terminology. That's why I was like, it's just, you take your goods that you don't want and they sell them.
Yeah.
But what sucks is in America, once again, normally back in the day, you can go to Goodwill and get a T-shirt for 50 cents. No, now they
Yep.
want to sell it at 50 cents less than what they sell in a regular store.
Oh,
But
especially if it's a name brand.
oh yeah, they'll put that behind a case, so you can't steal it or switch the tags.
Yep.
But no, you got to do a little digging in the charity shops or secondhand stores anymore,
Yeah.
because sometimes they don't know what they have, and
And
you have people.
you also gotta fight the early morning grandmothers and stuff that know what
Uh-huh.
they're looking for too.
Because
And
sometimes they list things at the Goodwill, they price them, and they don't know what they're selling. Sometimes
yep,
you can find some good stuff,
yep.
and a lot of people will resell them for the high market price.
And that's what
But
I hate.
yeah,
That's what I hate.
I'm not a fan of that. I mean, I understand to each their own, but
Yeah.
it makes the Goodwills want to charge more because they see that stuff.
Oh yeah. And
But
you know how Goodwill now has online shopping, an online silent bid.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that I was looking for vintage tarot decks,
Yep.
and it directed me to an online auction type thing
Yep.
for
Yep.
Goodwill, and I was like, and they were charging, I kid you not, a donated tarot deck that I don't know how much it's actually worth because it was old as shit, right?
Right.
But they wanted like $85 and it didn't have a box and it was missing shit and it was all tore up. And it was
Yep.
going for this $85. And I was like, Goodwill making some money.
Yeah. They do.
It's crazy.
They get knives and all this stuff donated to them. I seen a whole entire Vietnam Vietnam soldier set. I'm talking about they had the uniform. They had the whole entire MMS sleep system for it. They had the whole entire canteen. They had everything set up for the soldier, and it was donated. Going bid was like $140 for it, and like there was like 400 bids on it, so you don't
Yeah.
know what it was, and
Right.
because it's a silent bid, you can't see the other people's bids on it. So, and I'm like, it's cool that they're trying to keep the sets together so it's not given away to multiple different places in one area. But I saw a bio stove for sale for $25. The one that heats up and makes electricity so you
Oh,
can charge
right. Yeah.
your phone and stuff. That's like $200 for a bio stove, and they were selling it for $25 in Minnesota, but it had to be a pickup. Like you had
Yeah.
to go there and pick it up. And I was like, because they were changing stores and they were selling everything for dirt cheap in it.
Yeah.
I was like,
But like I
man,
said,
a
it's
bio stove.
interesting seeing what the different areas like. If I always love stopping in if I have the time. If
Yeah,
I'm in a place and I haven't been there before, I'm like, I want to go look in their antique stores. I want to look in the charity shops, and I just kind of want to see. I usually don't buy anything. If I do buy something, it's not much, but it's always interesting seeing what's community wise in that area. So if you want to get some like really good boots, and you want to pick up a pair secondhand just for shoveling the cow pens or whatever,
yeah,
and you go to Texas, you might be able to find those in certain areas. You're not going to
yep,
find that in California.
oh yeah,
If you want to find good snow gear, and you're up in like Michigan and all that, you might find some good snow gear,
yep,
for not as expensive because it's more common there. It's the
right,
availability for secondhand is going to be higher there
yeah,
versus, if I come here to, San Diego and I want to buy a pair of skis, they're going to go for a lot more because they're probably not going to
right,
be as used, etc.
oh
So I like stopping in and just seeing what, there's a possibility of getting. And I've gotten some really good stuff for my survival kit. I got a
yeah,
brand new tent one time, $200 tent. I paid $10 for it. It was
yep,
brand new.
yep,
They just never used it. And the shop didn't pay attention to what it was. So it was a 2-bedroom tent,
yeah,
real well made, good brand. I've gotten a couple of the 20-degree sleeping bags, brand new, because
mm-hmm.
people buy them one time, they camp with them, find out they don't like camping, they go to the shops.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes you
Give
can
me a
find
second. I'll show
some.
you something.
Hmm?
I'll be right back. You keep talking, sis. I'll be right
All
back.
right. See that, Jocko, I would love to see, stores with the bagpipes and stuff, and just like, the local community based items. Like, you came over here and try to get bagpipes, you're going to pay top dollar. And that's if you get anything that's even remotely considered authentic.
I'm back. What you were
Comes the
talking about
mouse.
when you were talking about two brand new sleeping bags and everything. I got the Mega Bag Ultra Event. It's a sleep sale, and
Ooh.
30 to 70 degree, 3.5 pound. The total weight of this whole thing is 6.6. Like removable air pillow, new high top collar. This thing is $150 when you buy it, and I got it from Goodwill for $2.50.
Yeah,
And
see what
it's
I mean?
yeah, I mean
You
it's
can,
got everything on it.
now, see, the thing is, if you needed that, it wouldn't be at the Goodwill. You'd never find it. But when you
Right.
don't need something, that's why I like to stop in with no anticipation. You're gonna run into something that you're like, hey, I know for a fact if I went to buy that when I needed it, I'm gonna be paying top dollar. Take
Yep.
it home, just do it then. Pay the $2. And that's the way I've always been is I'm gonna check it out, see what's available to me.
Yeah. There's I picked up a wool blanket, a queen size wool blanket that was made in Montgomery, Minnesota. And I paid $4 for that wool blanket. And I went and checked the price of it online, and it's a really big name brand wool blanket. And online, that specific model, because it wasn't a normal purchase, and it was like a special edition. It was like $400 for
Yep.
that blanket, and I picked it up for like $4 or $5 from the
Yeah,
good.
see if you had done that $20 challenge and you got that sleep cell and you were
Yeah.
able to find a pack and everything, like you could have rocked that $20 challenge like nobody's business and be able to set up for that 5-day challenge or whatever.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like I said, if you go into a place and you're like, I need camping gear, you're not going to find shit for camp. It's just the way of the world, right?
Right.
But if you go in there over time, let's say, I'm going to the same secondhand store for this last year, you're going to find some items in
Yeah.
about, a 6 to 10 month span. You're going to be able to create something. And I've paid
Right.
a fraction of what you would have paid buying commercially from a store. And that's what I
Oh, yeah.
advocate for is don't go out and spend $500 creating a massive pack. Give
Yep.
yourself a budget each month of just to play with. When
Yep.
something's on sale, you grab it. You got Cabela's having a sale. Go down there and see what's there. Go check their clearance. Go,
Yes.
in time, you'll create something really good for yourself to either have for the, end of the world or whatever you want to call it, or
Yep.
just to be able to go camp with. Or in the case of the urban explorers, a lot of my friends are, I always tell them you need the proper gloves. Go wait until you can get a really good pair, a
Yeah.
$150 pair. That's gonna last you a lifetime. Wait till the sale. Wait till Black Friday. You're gonna go commercial. Wait till Black Friday. Buy the
Right.
all-in-one tools that are on sale like crazy. You know, just
Yep.
wait. Don't go out and be like, okay, I have to go create my pack all today. You don't have to do that.
Yep.
You can just
No.
literally pick up a few things here and there. Like when I told you with the Prime days for Amazon, I picked up a couple things, saved me, 20, $40 here and there. And
Oh, yeah.
am I going to use them right away? No, they're there when I need them. They're there
Right.
for, my emergency days. And that's what I tell people to do. Like, if you want to create something right away, you definitely want to go to your dollar shops. Start
Yeah.
there, buy a couple things, because the biggest thing is food and having the water sourcing. And the
Oh,
rest
yeah.
of it is common sense. From there,
You know.
anything else is an added bonus. But you want
Yeah.
lodging of some sort, you want clean water, you want food, and you want a few tools for cooking, hunting if you need, things like that. And that's the
Oh
biggest
yeah.
things.
And
But people want to go out and buy $500 worth of stuff, and hey, if you got it, cool, you do
yeah.
you. But most of us that still need to survive may not have the money for that. And the little instant, like I tell people, when you need to make an instant pack, these are the things you want to consider: a multi-tool, things like that. But if you can go to a Goodwill secondhand place and you can find, sometimes they have knives that you can just sharpen really well. You're gonna pay a
Yep.
buck. Pay the
Yep.
buck. Buy a cute little make out of some leather, make a holder for it so you can put it
Yep.
in your pack and stuff. And I'm like, there's no need to have fancy. It don't need to look pretty. It needs to work. And
I showed people a long time ago on one of my very first videos that I took a serrated bread knife, and I still have it over here. But taking a serrated bread knife, and you can use it as a saw to
yep,
cut down trees and wood and process wood with it. And you don't need to spend 100, $30-$40 on a Baco Laplander and
yep.
have it taking up space. A serrated knife is just as good as any of these saws to do what you need. It's not going to cut down a whole tree, but it's going to cut down saplings. It's going to create what you need it to do.
Slice through a vine,
Yeah.
things like
Oh
that.
no, we got cedar over here, Sapphire, which is hard, and we got oak trees. But this serrated bread knife right here will do the exact same thing that you needed. Hold on. Ugh. Oh, where is my little serrated bread knife? Sorry, when I get done with things, I throw it into my pile of mix match. Ugh. I got my wet stones that I use to sharpen.
Oh, I got some really good stones for sharpening out when I was back in North Carolina.
Oh, flint.
I got a real good stone from the beach that I was practicing sharpening just an old knife from the drawer that I didn't, I always keep my old doles. Don't get rid of them. If you got some old dole knives,
Yep. Hold on. You got you dropped out against this. Oh, where are you? I think I took it back in to resharpen. Oh, never mind.
I'm
But
back.
welcome back.
But yeah, I take my old knives from the kitchen that I've doled out or I've bought a new set. I keep
Oh,
those
here
and
it is. Here it is.
I practice sharpening with those. But I got a really good beach stone that the guy that I was at over there was like, you can sharpen a knife real good with that, and I was like, I'm gonna try it, and
Yeah.
it's worked beautiful, natural beach stone. It was great.
Yeah, this is a half tang 3 uh no 4-inch bread knife. This thing will do the exact same thing as anything else that you need it to do. Like, I'll show you. But I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. But you see what it done?
Yeah.
Just in a few cuts. That's all you need. It's the spacing between the teeth on the blade that makes the cut. If it's wide enough, it will cut and it will create dust. So don't ever think that this won't cut wood.
Hmm.
So,
It might take you a little longer, but you'll make it through.
right.
But yeah,
Oh,
you can always pick up gear. You don't have to buy top of the line. I mean, you're gonna rough it up anyway. You know,
right.
tie some. If you get a knife, like a knife with a thinner handle, make a leather handle. Make the adjustments you need to it. Wrap it with, some of mine I have with electrical tape
Yeah,
because I can always unwrap that, and I got tape.
right.
And
And you
I've
also,
always,
with that electrical tape, you have a fire starter.
yep,
You have a
exactly.
tinder.
So I'm always repurposing or secondhanding everything.
Yep.
And I have some of my elements in my kit. Look, they're the most ugliest shit in the world, but they work great. And
Right.
Fluff just recently got a pocket ninja, thanks to Matt, and almost damn near cut his fucking thumb because he was like, "What is this again?" And I was like, "Don't touch that edge." He's like, "That thing is sharp," and I was like, "Well, yeah." But he
Right.
goes, "Okay, so what am I supposed to do with this?" And I was like, "Well, honey, it's a wallet ninja. You're supposed to keep it in your wallet." And
Yep.
he's like, "All right." And I was like, "In your
I got
case,
two of them.
don't." And I was like, "In your case, Fluff, don't. You're not there yet. Just keep it in the console of the car." But
I I got
he's
two wallet ninjas on both sides of my wallet. So I got one for me and one for somebody else. So
yeah, yes, he actually did. Fluff did go to bed. He has to work tomorrow, so he took
yeah.
his little sleepy self. Well, he's been awake since like 3:30 yesterday, because we had to leave Phoenix to get back over to here so he could go to
Oh
work today.
yeah. You went to that wedding.
We went to the wedding, and I decided, instead of driving back after the wedding, to just go back to our hotel, sleep a little bit, and then drive back. I drove back because so he could sleep in the car longer, but still, it's exhausting. I'm not one for car sleeping too much, and you can only sleep so well in them, and he's kind of the same way. But I told him, like, I'll drive, you sleep. And he got in, took a shower, went straight to work. So he was a little on the exhausty type.
Yeah.
But he's learned. See, Fluff's learning the survival stuff in real time through people like Matt and stuff like that, because his dad worked all the time when he was little. Like, went to work at 6 a.m., came home at 8 p.m., didn't get
Yep.
a lot of one-on-one time with his dad and learning certain survival techniques. His dad did teach him a little bit about cars, so that's why
Yep.
he got into mechanics. So Fluff's also a diesel mechanic. Many people don't realize that, but he is in fact a certified diesel mechanic, and he works on semi trucks and stuff like that. But as far as, like, learning what tools do as far as survival stuff, he's still kind of learning, like, okay, so I can't do that. I can't touch that. That's a fungus that's poisonous. He doesn't know a lot about that stuff. And like, if
Yeah.
you talk about a Boeing knife, he's gonna be like, he'll tell me, like, babe, which one's that? And I'm like, okay, hold on, Fluff. So I've had to show him the different types of knives, and he knows that I love my knives. More
Yeah.
than guns, I love knives. Because I
Yep.
can throw a knife and I'll hit my target each time without even
Yep.
really thinking about it. I have a beautiful set of Japanese throwing knives that are from Japan, and they're so lightweight, and yet they're perfectly balanced. Oh, and they're sharp as shit, and I love them. And he's seen me crack
Right.
one of those
Right.
into a target on the wall. And he's like, "I bet you could hit one of those. I bet you could hit a fly with one of those." And I'm like, "I've never tried."
A tomahawk is not useless if it's a true tomahawk, Sapphire. That's the thing. Most tomahawks, people that our amateur blacksmiths create a useless tomahawk. But a tomahawk has a pommel on the back and a widened, curved blade on the front. And it also has the rounded hole that can be that a axe handle can be created on the fly.
Hmm.
But the majority of people don't know how to use a tomahawk.
That's why
That's the problem.
most people don't know how to use them, and that's to any piece of equipment is useless in the hands of someone who doesn't know its potential or how to use it. And
Right.
that's almost with anything. Certain things, it's like you don't. For certain things, don't require a lot of thought. I have 4 different machetes, and truth be told, you don't have to use your brain a whole lot to swing one of those.
No.
But if you want to go cutting, what machetes were for, I, my family's also from Mexico. My grandmother's from Mexico, so they would tell you, when I would go to Honduras, you have a machete with you, or a
Yeah.
machete, and that's how you're going to clear through the bush. But if you don't know how to really swing it to cut it, you know, perfectly, you're going to be swinging every different which way, and you can hurt yourself or someone else. So there's safety that is a consideration, but yeah, like I'll go out places and one of my machetes is in my car, and
Yeah.
that's intimidating. You see someone with a big ass machete, and you're kind of like, oh shit, they don't take much thought to throw that at me. That's gonna
Yep.
hurt. So you can be a little intimidating with those. Now, are they good for, much else other than a swiping motion? Not really. They're not for sawing or anything like that. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
the sword, but it has a handle and you use different force in order to use it. So every tool has a purpose if you know how to use it properly or to its potential.
Yeah. See, Sapphire, I've never seen a thin bladed tomahawk unless it's a commercial tomahawk. Every tomahawk that I've ever had and the tomahawks that I've ever created were thick bladed swipe tomahawks that are meant to cut and meant to not throw, because anybody anymore make throwing tomahawks, which are thin and for distance and hitting. A lot of the real tomahawks, yeah, they're not thin.
Well, I've seen people do like with a real tomahawk, they've done a
Yeah.
lot with them.
Yeah,
So to me, a tomahawk is a very nice multi tool. They're just
it
heavy.
is. Yeah,
So it's a lot of weight to carry with you, and some of them can be pretty good size. You can get smaller ones but most people use those for commercial throwing, like the axe throwing. They'll throw the smaller tomahawks,
yeah,
but those aren't real. Those, that's just the cut of them is similar to a tomahawk. But a real one, I guess because I live in a lot of indigenous land, I've
yeah.
seen like real tomahawks, like used by Native Americans, like those tomahawks. And some of those can get real big, and some of those can be like, they're intimidating looking. And they use them to cut up food. They use them for hunting. They use them for, and if used with enough force, I've seen those things cut down small trees. So they can be a pretty decent tool. It can be a weapon as well, but pretty decent tool nonetheless.
We forge steel, Sapphire, but not in mass quantities. We reused and learned how to forge steel after the white man came. And I'm I'm the 232nd licensed blacksmith in America. So
Well, some of the tomahawks I've seen were made out of bone.
yeah,
So they didn't always use steel.
right.
That's why I say with natives, they were able to forge stuff out of different elements. So not everything would be considered, what we base it off of, textbook style, I guess, if you want to say.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of our stuff was bone based, and it will always be bone based. Our arrow, I mean, our, you know, the sorry, I'm falling asleep.
Poor
I'm
Mel.
trying to, I'm trying to, I'm trying to stay awake. But
Well, brother, maybe we'll clear this one up for this week and we'll start again on the next survival with tea.
yes,
Because
we can do that,
you need to
sis.
get some sleep, and I do too. So it was a great night talking with all of you. You're all awesome. And we will definitely catch you next time.
Yes, we will, sis. And I gotta make a opening for us instead of the ones that I created for basic talk. So
In due time, brother, in due time. All right, you
yes,
guys all
ma'am.
take care. Stay surviving. Stay
Yes.
willing. And we'll see you all on the next one.
I love you all. Y'all take care, and I will do our little closeout. So, shoo do 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 do. See, instead of this one, we need a. Oh shit! Did I? Okay, we're gonna do one. I'm gonna do one of these for our closing. But love you all. Y'all take care and boom. Love you all. Bye.
Night.